Hi, Cassidy Olivier, reporter with the Province newspaper here in our lovely offices in downtown Vancouver. Joining me from Victoria is Province political columnist Michael Smyth. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Cassidy.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
Good, thanks for joining us. Always a lot to talk about in BC politics. The topic on everyone's mind today seems to be about the ongoing labor dispute between the BC government and the striking teachers. School's 2 weeks away, yet both sides remain far apart on the bargaining table. It seems like they're not even bargaining right now. Mike, you've written about this topic extensively. First question to you, can we expect a deal by September 2nd?
It's not looking very good right now. I mean, I did make a prediction about a couple of weeks ago that they probably would get a deal. Somebody told me when I first became a columnist, they said predict early and predict often. So sometimes I like to go out on a limb and predict something's going to happen. When Vince Reddy got involved, this guy is considered the best mediator around. As soon as I heard his name, I thought, okay, they're going to get a deal. They had a media blackout, and I thought they were getting down to business. They were going to get a deal. Then we find out, and this is what I wrote about in the paper today, Cassidy, and I encourage people to check it out online. You know, we find out they haven't been negotiating at all. Like the last face-to-face bargaining session was August 8th. So they've been telling us for 2 weeks, there's a media blackout, the best mediator in the business is involved. Then we find out they haven't even been talking. So, you know, my optimism from 2 weeks ago that we'll get a deal has been lessened, I'm afraid.
You covered a lot of ground in your column today. You brought up some good points, asked some tough questions on both sides. You brought up that website that the government set up for parents looking to get some information on what they can do for their kids. Tell us a bit about that and also what you think it might say about the government's overall position on this.
Okay, the website the government set up this week, Cassidy, is bcparentinfo.com, and it was set up by the government to give parents information about what's going on with the basically non-existent negotiations, and also how they can register to get $40 a day for each kid they have in the public school system should the schools still be behind picket lines on September 2nd. There's a link on there, and this is one of the things that intrigued me. It says, click here for learning resources. You go on there, and it's got information on what you can do with your kids if the schools are shut down. One of the things it says is put your kids in a first aid course or put your kids in a food safety course. And I'm reading this, and I'm going, is this really what our education system has come to now? Like, put your kids in a first aid course? You got to be kidding me. And then there's other links that says, click here to link download textbooks. Here are some self-learning resources. So, you know, you've got a website here that essentially is saying, download your own textbooks and educate yourself. And the column I wrote today in the paper basically was, I guess, expressing my frustration as a parent because I got kids in the school system myself. And I'm like, I don't want your $40. I want my kids in school. This is the way I look at it, and I think a lot of parents are looking at it the same way because I got a big reaction to the column today.
Sure. Do you think by putting this website out, are they suggesting that they're ready to, you know, prolong this lockout?
I think even though it's called Parent Information, the website, I think it's aimed more at the teachers union because I think the unspoken message in the website to the teachers is we're not going to budge, we're not going to sweeten our deal, and we're not going to legislate you back to work and give you guys a moral victory. We've dug in, and we're going to allow the schools to remain shut down in September. And the money we would have paid to you as teachers, we're going to pay to parents instead, $40 a day. So I think it's essentially a bargaining tactic by the government designed to put pressure on the union. And I think it's working to an extent because we've already seen, and there's been some reports on this in the province newspaper as well, about how some teachers are actually saying we're going to go into business for ourselves now. We're going to step away from the picket line, and we're going to set up homeschooling sessions in our homes and take the $40 from parents, and we'll teach your kids. To me, the government that delights the government. They want to see teachers turn against their union. I think that should worry the union as well. So this is the type of stuff that's going on, and to me, it's not satisfactory. I think you got kids stuck in the middle, parents stuck in the middle. We've already lost 2 weeks of the school year, Cassidy, and personally, my own opinion is let's get this settled and get our kids back to school.
there is a media blackout, but Education Minister Peter Fassbender was doing the rounds this morning on radio. You had an opportunity to talk to him. Judging by the Twitter reaction, you asked him some pretty tough questions, put him on the hot seat. Do you think he's done a good enough job to try to bring a resolution to this debate, to this argument?
No, I don't. I don't think either side. I blame both sides. I don't think either side has been effective and responsible in getting a deal here. And you're right. And, you know, the editors at the province newspaper, I love them because they let me moonlight a little bit now and then on the radio. And what I do there is I fill in occasionally on the radio, and it's fun for me. And it was fortunate that I was able to interview Peter Fassbender, the education minister, about all these issues today. And I know that Eric Rolfson has put that up on the province website. So if you go on the province website, you can click on the interview there and listen to the interview I did with the education minister. And yeah, I mean, I expressed my frustration as a parent in the interview and asked him, what's going on? Like, why aren't you guys at least talking to each other? It's almost like you've wasted the whole summer and we can't get a deal. I mean, these guys keep talking about we want to get a deal. We want a negotiated settlement. But here we are. Looking at the end of August, and they're not even talking. They haven't talked to each other since August 8th. And to me, it's not acceptable. Quickly,
give me a letter grade for Peter Fassbender and also Jim Eicher on the BCTF side and how they've performed.
I give them both a failing grade right now. I really do, because we're supposed to have our kids back in school here on September 2nd. We've already lost 2 weeks of school, and it's not fair to our kids. You know, to me, they should be going full out to try and get a deal, and to discover in the last couple of days, despite this so-called media blackout, which seemed to suggest they were talking, that they weren't even negotiating at all face-to-face. I think it's a disgrace as far as I'm concerned. You know, you've got a lot of kids, a lot of parents stuck in the middle here, and they don't even seem to be trying. And I think it's a shame.
Going ahead, Mike, what are some of the scenarios that we might see, and you know, what are some of the storylines that might develop coming towards September 2nd, and then afterwards, how long do you think this might go?
Well, one of the things I asked the education minister today was how long would he be prepared to let this thing go on? Would he let the schools be shut down for a week, 2 weeks, a month? I mean, how long? I mean, this thing obviously has to be resolved some way or another. So by hook or by crook, they can't let the schools stay closed forever. So, you know, how long are you willing to let the schools be shut down? And he wouldn't answer. Now, you know, I still hold out a little bit of optimism because I just can't believe that they want to put our kids through this again. I mean, we've already lost enough time to this gong show. And I think it's time to get the schools open. Vince Reddy is an effective mediator. They should have put him in there a long time ago. Hey, Cassidy, I think I wrote a column back in May saying put Vince Reddy in there as mediator.
Sure, they must be reading your stuff, man.
Better late than never.
Right on. What else do you have going on? What can we expect from, what are you working on now? What's going to come up Sunday?
Okay, check my column on Sunday because, you know, the smart meters issue is one that I find interesting. In Saskatchewan, they just decided to get rid of all their smart meters because they were catching on fire. The BC Hydro says here in BC there has never been a single smart meter fire. And they use a different brand of smart meter, but I've talked to several people who've got a different story. So it's an interesting one.
Good
so
stuff.
That's on Sunday.
Look forward to it. And you can read Mike's columns every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday in the province and theprovince.com. Make sure to follow us on Twitter if you like as well for the latest breaking news in BC Poly. Thanks for joining us, Mike.
Thank you, Cassidy.
See you next time. Thanks.